Philip Coulter once said, "There's no such thing as a commodity, only a product waiting to be differentiated," and I 100% believe that. The trap many founders fall into, though, is they use the exact same messaging and positioning as their competitors, and that makes it look like their product is a commodity. My name is Cameron Olds, and I'm on a mission to make your company competitive by differentiating it. Have you ever wondered why so many different companies seem to just easily, quickly capture their entire market? They don't have any competition to worry about. People just flock to them. Now, there's probably a lot of reasons for that. They might not have good product market fit. Their founder might be a bad salesman. They haven't found the right sales channel. There's a lot of different reasons why companies haven't found their stride yet. But I guarantee you that at least one of them is they're not differentiated. In fact, they're probably the opposite of differentiated. They're probably using the exact same message and words and positioning as the very companies they're trying to compete against. In today's video, I'm going to show you why and how being differentiated is the difference between stealing market share from a competitor or having it stolen from you by them. We're going to take a look at a real-world example of two companies who are trying to win market share without being differentiated. They're basically the same product, saying the same thing, and we're going to look at how one of them might differentiate itself from the other to hopefully make capturing the Utah market a little bit easier. I think that generally speaking, each product has like 1 to 2 different ways it is actually differentiated. You do things differently. Maybe you have a patent, you have a special framework or formula or recipe or something like that. There's something you do different that's of value to your ICP that you're just not communicating. That's how founders shoot themselves in the foot, is you have these differences, but you don't communicate them to your ICP in a way that's easily understandable. And if you don't do that, you're left to compete on price. And when you compete on price, it's just a race to the bottom. It's so easy for a competitor to lower its price after you lower yours, and it's just a vicious cycle all the way to the bottom. Okay, let's take a look at a real-world example of how not being differentiated hurts you in the marketplace. There are two companies with essentially the same product going after the same market in the same state at the same time. The two companies are Minky Couture and Lola Blankets. Maybe you've seen both of them on Instagram, maybe you haven't, but essentially what they are is they sell luxury designer blankets, really, really big, really, really soft blankets, and they're actually kind of nice. My daughter loves them. This is Minky Couture, who, by the way, was the OG. They were the first mover. They're the ones that created the Utah market for this product, for this luxury designer blankets, and this is what their website's saying. So if you scroll down, all the way down here, you're gonna see the softest luxury designer blankets sewn with love and just for you. The softest luxury designer blankets. What's Lola saying? If we scroll down, what are we seeing? Oh, the internet's softest blanket. The world's softest luxury designer blanket and the softest blanket in the world. It's the exact same messaging, and which one do we pick? Okay, so how could one theoretically differentiate itself from the other? Let's say hypothetically that I'm a marketing manager over at Lola and I'm in charge of this go-to-market strategy here in Utah, and I recognize the fact that Minky Couture and Lola, my company, are both just kind of looking like copycats. How would I go about trying to differentiate Lola Blankets from Minky Blankets so that we had a larger competitive advantage against them and it was a little easier for us to come in and take market share from them and win the market in Utah? Well, to answer that question, I have 2 tools that I want to talk to you guys about that hopefully you can use in your own business, but would be good for demonstration purposes here. The first is something that my team and I over at Protagonist call the Clarity Uniqueness Matrix. It's a 2x2 matrix that's measuring 2 things. How clear are you and how unique are you? So over here in the top right-hand corner, we see this is high uniqueness and high clarity. You know what your differentiated positions are, and you're really, really clear at communicating that uniqueness to your ICP. That's exactly where you want to be. That is the only place you should ever want to be. If you're here, you're competitive, and if you're here, you're golden. It's really hard for other people to get into your space because you've successfully built a moat around your position. Really good stuff. Moving over to the left, we have high clarity but low uniqueness. They're not entirely aware of what makes them different. They're not entirely aware of what their differentiated capacity is, but they're decently good at communicating their value prop, right? But just turns out that that value prop is pretty much the same as their competitors. Going down on the bottom left-hand side, we see that we have low uniqueness and low differentiation, meaning you have no idea what makes you unique and you're not communicating that really clearly to your ICP. No one understands your uniqueness, no one understands your value, and you're really, really confusing, so no one's really paying attention to you either. This is the worst place you could be. Definitely don't want to be here. Avoid that like the plague. Moving over to the right again, we have high uniqueness but low clarity, which means that you know exactly what makes you different, but you're not entirely sure, or you're not communicating those differences clearly to your target audience. So that's the differentiation clarity matrix. The next tool I want to talk about is used to figure out, okay, so what does it actually mean to be differentiated, and what are my differentiated factors? This was taught to me by a mentor of mine named Austin. 3 things. He called it the cube. I understand that it's not really a cube, so maybe I need a different name, but bear with me here. The cube is a model for understanding how you actually might go about differentiating yourself. And the cube is made up of 3 different parts. One is target audience, the other is product, and the other is sales channel. Those are the 3 things, the 3 ways you could differentiate your product and your business, either through your target audience, your ICP, through your product, or through your channel. Back to Lola Blankets. If I were a marketing manager at Lola Blankets and I was in charge of the go-to-market strategy for here in Utah, I would differentiate myself via ICP. And this is really easy to do because you don't have to go back to your product development team and replumb and invest a whole lot more money into new features and updated features to fit this target audience. You can just take what exists right now and move it over to a different segment and target a different ICP. So if I were Lola and I was looking at the market here in Utah, I know that Miki Couture already has the middle-class moms and grandmas down as their ICP. That's who they're targeting. Grandmas and moms who want a nice, meaningful gift at like graduation, when you're going to college, or when you have a baby, or maybe you get married or move into a new house. Like, you just want a meaningful gift for your kids and grandkids. Miki Couture has that market covered. They've got that ICP down pat. Where am I going to go if I'm going to differentiate myself via target audience? I would personally go up market to an ICP that is more style conscious and affluent, meaning they've got more money and they're a little bit more concerned and preoccupied with appearing rich, appearing to have status, appearing to be sophisticated. The reason I would go that route is because I think Lola's visuals already kind of affect this air. There's already a kind of old money, sophisticated tone to Lola's marketing imagery as it stands right now. But the problem is the messaging doesn't match the imagery. So what I'm doing is, you already have the imagery, you already have that old money feel, I'm just gonna match the message to it now. So what before was the same ICP, middle class, moms and grandmas, the world's softest blanket to the internet's softest blanket, those 2, same message, same ICP. I'm gonna move Lola out to a different style, conscious, affluent ICP, and the internet's softest blanket all of a sudden becomes something like the blanket designed for $5 million spaces. That's hero language. It's a completely different ICP and segment than what Miki Couture is going after. Let's take a look at some examples of what that messaging could look like in practice on Lola Blanket's social media pages. So here's one right now that pairs hero language with product language. We've got the blanket built for B&B Italia. Now, if you don't know what B&B Italia is, it is a really high-end, expensive, luxury furniture brand. I'm talking $5,000 per couch. That's really, really expensive. But chances are this target audience is already using and aware of this high-end luxury brand. And so what we're doing is we're anchoring our product with something they already know scratches that itch of sophistication and wealth and appearing, as a status flex. The blanket built for B&B Italia, great hero language, great problem language. Let's go to another one. The blanket they ask about at dinner. Again, hero language, product language. Product language being just those first 2 words, the blanket, and the hero language at the end is they ask about at dinner, or just, being asked about at dinner. Where did you get that blanket? I love it. That's appealing to their sense of wanting to be perceived as rich and be perceived as affluent. They want elevated status. The blanket they ask about at dinner, great hero language, great product language. 2 of them come together, different messaging, different positioning, really good stuff. Final example, let's take a look at this one. Again, this one's just hero language. Recognizable only to the right people. So this one I know really sounds snooty and hoity-toity and all that stuff. But to your target audience, that might be really important. So recognizable only to the right people, the blanket built for B&B Italia, and the blanket they ask about at dinner. We've separated ourselves from Miki Couture's target audience of middle-class moms and grandmas. We've gone up market. So you can see how the messaging's changed. Ultimately, if you differentiate yourself via your target audience, your product, you could also find some way of differentiating yourself via your product. Differentiating yourself via your target audience could lead to a wider moat and a differentiated product as well. So you could differentiate yourself on 2 of the 3 different areas, and that would be a really, really, really strong market position. Okay, if you've been listening to this and you're like, ooh, you know what? I'm not sure exactly where I would fall on the clarity uniqueness matrix. I think I'm gonna be in the bottom half, maybe in the bottom left-hand corner where I'm not unique and I'm not clear. Don't worry, I've got another tool that can help you. It's called Message Audit. If you sign up for Message Audit, it's 100% free. What you're gonna get is, hey, I'm gonna go in and personally curate 30 pieces of your most recent content from your social media sites, from your website, from your blog, maybe even from a podcast or 2, and I'm gonna grade each of them based off of the frameworks I've given you here today, based off of your cube and based off of how clearly you're communicating that. So each of those 30 pieces of content is gonna get handwritten notes and handwritten grade from me, so you know exactly why each got the score that it did. And at the end, you're gonna get a score. How did you do? How clear are you? How unique are you? And at the end of it all, you're gonna hop on a 30-minute call with me. We can brainstorm some simple solutions together. You can ask me any questions you want. We can just sit there and go, okay, cool. This is where you're at right now in terms of clarity and differentiation. If you're worried that, hey, as a founder, I'm not entirely sure what makes me unique, and I'm not entirely sure I'm communicating it clearly, my market understands exactly what makes me different, order your Message Audit. I can help you. We'll get to the bottom of it. We'll give you an actual score on whether or not you're clear and whether or not you're differentiated. Go ahead and order it. I've got a link in the description below. We'll see you next time.